Hello. Today, we will talk about a horrifying gang of murderers in Jilin, led by Li Zijun. In less than 2 years, from April 2000 to August 2002, Li Zijun, along with Xu Leifeng, Wang Wenji, Kui Juba, An Leijun, Wang Hongwei, and their accomplices, carried out a series of 14 robberies in Changchun, Jutai, Jilin, and many other areas. They caused the deaths of 11 victims, left 3 people seriously injured, and committed 36 cases of theft and robbery, seizing a total of about 6 million yuan. This was the largest serial robbery and murder case in Jilin City since the establishment of the People's Republic of China. Most of their victims were taxi drivers who were easy to approach, and they would brutally kill the drivers and dispose of the bodies in a very cruel manner. This case was considered one of the most shocking criminal cases in China at that time. So who is Li Zijun, and why did he become such a cold-blooded killer? Li Zijun was born in 1969 into an ordinary family in Jilin City, Jilin Province. His family had 4 children. He was the 3rd child, with 2 older sisters and a younger brother. Li Zijun's father had always been engaged in unscrupulous activities, addicted to gambling, and often losing more than he won. Over the years, his father accumulated a large gambling debt, and under the pressure of this enormous debt, he eventually chose to commit suicide. As the eldest son, after his father's death, the responsibility of supporting the family fell heavily on Li Zijun's shoulders. To alleviate this burden, he quickly arranged marriages for his 2 sisters. His younger brother, lacking proper guidance, drifted into a life of crime from a young age and, influenced by bad elements in society, engaged in many illegal activities. Eventually, he was caught and imprisoned. Thus, the family was left with only Li Zijun and his widowed mother relying on each other. After some time, villagers arranged a marriage for Li Zijun, and he thought his difficult life was over, anticipating a new, better future. However, only a year after getting married, his wife filed for divorce due to their poverty. In a fit of anger, Li Zijun decided to leave home. Li Zijun wandered around Jilin province, where he met the person who would change his life, Kui Juba. Kui Juba was a taxi driver. During their interactions, Kui Juba learned about Li Zijun's life and felt a lot of sympathy for him. To help Li Zijun escape his difficult situation, Kui Juba suggested a quick way to get rich. All Li Zijun needed to do was obtain a car, and Kui Juba would find a buyer for it. Once the car was sold, Li Zijun would receive a small commission. But where could Li Zijun get a car? Stealing one was obviously illegal. However, blinded by greed, Li Zijun couldn't wait and wanted to get rich immediately. He kept thinking, but didn't know how to get a car. Finally, on April 17, 2000, at around 2 p.m., Li Zijun, armed with a 30-centimeter butcher knife, boarded a taxi at a sauna center in Nangguan District, Changchun City. When the taxi passed through the economic development tourism area near Lemon Village, Li Zijun took advantage of the driver's distraction and stabbed him in the neck. The terrified taxi driver quickly abandoned the car and ran, but Li Zijun relentlessly chased after him. It didn't take long for him to catch up and stab the driver 9 times, killing him on the spot. Being his first murder, Li Zijun was very scared. Seeing the bloodstains all over the car and himself, he didn't dare steal the car. He hastily searched the driver's body, took whatever valuables he found, and quickly left the scene. After this incident, Li Zijun realized that he was inexperienced, and that working alone would be very difficult. So, he decided to find a partner. After some thought, he concluded that the person who had guided him, Kui Juba, would be the best choice. The two quickly agreed to cooperate. 3 days later, on April 27, 2000, they drove to Changchun. After scouting the area, they chose a cornfield as the site for their next crime. Around 8 p.m. on the same day, Kui Juba prepared tools such as knives, ropes, and tape for the crime and hid at the chosen location. Meanwhile, Li Zijun went into the city to find a target. Upon arriving in Changchun, near the Dongda Bridge, Li Jijun stopped a red taxi. After negotiating the fare, the driver headed in the predetermined direction. When the car reached the cornfield, Li Jijun lied, saying he needed to pick up a friend and asked the driver to stop. The driver saw a man standing by the road and, without suspicion, stopped the car immediately. However, what the driver did not expect was that as soon as the car stopped, Li Jijun suddenly attacked, grabbing the driver by the neck from behind. Qijuba immediately rushed over to help. Together, they quickly subdued the driver. After placing the unconscious driver in the trunk, the two drove towards Jilin. When they passed a riverbank, they dumped the still-alive driver into the water. They then drove the car back to Jilin, handing it over to Wang Wenzi, who lived in Jianhua District, Jianhua Village, Fengmen District, Jilin City, for disposal. If the first incident was an unplanned robbery, this time it was a premeditated murder. Li Jijun made 300 yuan from the car robbery. After easily tasting the sweet fruit, Li Jijun couldn't control himself anymore. Just 10 days later, he returned to Changchun to prepare for the next crime. However, upon arriving in Changchun, Li Jijun made a new friend, Xu Lianfeng. Xu had a similar family background to Li, also facing financial difficulties, and coincidentally, he had recently divorced. Sharing the same experiences, Li felt sympathetic towards Xu and decided to recruit him as an accomplice. At that time, Xu was going through a tough period in his life. Under Li Jijun's deliberate temptation, he immediately agreed to join. The day after their meeting, they couldn't wait and quickly collaborated on a car robbery and murder. After killing the driver, they disposed of the body. The car was handed over to Qijuba and then sold by Wang Wenxi. However, this time, although they obtained 10,000 yuan from the crime, they almost got caught due to the victim's strong resistance. This made Li Jijun realize that continuing in this manner would be very dangerous. He then remembered the method of sedating deer to cut their antlers that he had seen in his hometown. He thought that sedating the victim before attacking would be much safer. With this idea in mind, he immediately bought anesthetics, syringes, and other necessary tools. He then headed to Changchun once again to test the effectiveness of this new method. On the evening of June 3rd, around 9 p.m., Li Jijun and Xu Lianfeng approached another taxi near Dongjing University Bridge in Changchun. When the car passed through the Xinglongshan town area, Li Jijun used a knife to threaten the driver while Xu injected the driver with an anesthetic. Shortly after the injection, the driver lost consciousness. The two took the opportunity to kill the driver and put the body in the trunk. They then drove to Roma Lake near Beishan Mountain in Jilin City to dispose of the body. The car was sold again for spending money. The success of this operation made Li Jijun feel he had found a quick way to get rich. With each successful crime, his boldness grew, pushing him further down the path of crime and robbery. In the following days, Li Jijun sometimes acted alone, sometimes with Xu Lianfeng, Qijuba, Wang Wenji, and a few others who inadvertently joined the gang. Li's group carried out dozens of anesthetic attacks, murders, and robberies. Among the victims, only 2 survived because the dose of anesthetic was not strong enough, and they were rescued in time. All the other unlucky victims died. As the Li Jijun gang continuously stole cars and illegally sold them, they gradually mastered the skill of unlocking cars. With this skill, stealing cars became as easy as turning a hand. Most importantly, stealing cars was less risky than killing people and trafficking goods. From then on, Li Jijun's gang changed their method of operation. Before starting a new spree of crimes, Li recruited more new accomplices. They would gather and assign clear tasks for activities such as surveillance, unlocking, turning off lights, etc. Li established a multi-scope criminal organization consisting of 21 members, committing robberies, thefts, and sales in over 27 northeastern cities, including Jilin, Changchun, and Harbin. It was truly a period of extreme madness. Although they gained considerable benefits, Li realized that Jilin was no longer safe. Thus, he considered relocating the base. On December 9, 2001, Li Jijun, Wang Wenji and two accomplices, Kui Juba and Wang Hongwei, after stealing a Jetta in Jilin, drove towards Shenzhen. Here, not only did they continue committing crimes, but they also became more frenzied and sophisticated. They purchased items such as handcuffs, camouflage uniforms, batons, police lights, and more to disguise themselves as police officers. In Baoan district, they initiated a new wave of robberies. On the night of December 19th, around 10 p.m., the four, disguised as police officers, drove to Baoan district, Shinan town, Shenzhen city. They noticed a Buick parked by the roadside. They aggressively approached, handcuffed the driver, and stole 900 yuan in cash and a mobile phone from him. Then, they brutally strangled the driver with a rope. They dragged the body to the seaside for disposal. Typically, to cover their tracks, after stealing a car, Li would not sell it immediately on site. Instead, he would transport the car to places like Chishi, Daking, Tongliao, Inner Mongolia, to sell the stolen goods. The reason Li Zijun's gang could operate criminally for such a long time was mainly because they kept their identities secret. The 6 key members of the gang had no prior criminal records. Besides Li and Shu, the other 4 were taxi drivers with legitimate jobs. They fully utilized counter-surveillance measures. To avoid being detected by the police, they placed many obstacles to hinder the investigation and case-solving process. In these 14 cases of murder and car theft, to avoid detection, they did not hesitate to kill people to cover their crimes. Moreover, they often changed crime locations and erased traces, using very sophisticated methods. After each crime, they always destroyed the tools along the way. Evidence was never kept overnight. When not committing crimes, they left no criminal tools at their residences. Finally, their market for stolen goods was very smooth. Because the market for stolen goods was scarce, the gang quickly sold 44 motor vehicles they had stolen. Some stolen cars were even converted into legal vehicles and circulated. However, Li Jijun's and his gang's frenzied crimes soon caught the high attention of the police. By analyzing and reviewing recent carjacking cases and car thefts, the police preliminarily identified that they were all perpetrated by one criminal organization. To find a breakthrough, the police tightly controlled the vehicle inspection centers and motor vehicle transaction markets, especially the off-market transaction areas. They conducted thorough investigations of suspicious vehicles and individuals. On April 14th, a police officer discovered a beige sedan without a license plate in an off-market vehicle transaction area. The car seemed very suspicious, so the officer approached and inquired about it. No owner came forward to claim the car, so they took it back to the police station. After checking, they identified the car's engine number and confirmed that it was one of the vehicles stolen in Changchun on April 13th. To find the criminals, the police conducted several investigations at the vehicle transaction market. Eventually, they determined that the owner of the car was a middle-aged man, about 30 years old, of average build. The police immediately began investigating this individual. However, while the police were investigating him, 5 high-end car thefts occurred consecutively in Jilin City. On May 18th alone, 3 Jetta cars were stolen in areas such as Shandong, Heze, and Tai'an. Investigators worked tirelessly, spending nearly 2 months on the investigation. Finally, on June 15th, the police discovered that the owner of the car was a man named Xiao Ji, whose real name was Wang Wenji, 29 years old, residing in Tianfeng Village, Jiangnan Town, Fengmen District, Jilin City. The police investigated his social connections and found that Wang Wenji was closely associated with a person named Xiao Kai, whose original name was Li Zijun, from Suan Village, Wangxi Town, Jilin City. During the investigation, the police also noticed that Li Zijun's family situation was poor, but he drove luxury cars and frequently changed them. Based on this, the police concluded that Li Zijun and Wang Wenji were suspected of car smuggling and serious crimes. Therefore, the police immediately launched a deeper investigation into both of them. After reviewing their call records, the police discovered that Li had frequent contact with someone out of the province, especially recently, with frequent calls to a person in Tongliao, Inner Mongolia. Meanwhile, reliable police sources indicated that Li Jijun had recently stolen a Jetta in Tongliao. Upon receiving this information, the police immediately went to Tongliao to investigate Li Jijun's connections there. Quickly, the police identified a person in Tongliao named Wu Jianju, 46 years old, from Inner Mongolia. However, when the police tried to investigate Wu Jianju, an unexpected situation occurred. This individual happened to be the seller of 3 untraceable Jetta cars. Therefore, the Jilin police immediately brought Wu Jianju and the 3 Jettas back to Jilin for investigation. Under patient questioning and persuasion by the police, Wu Jianju's defensive psychology broke down. He confessed honestly that he, along with Li Jijun and others, had committed theft. Moreover, he also revealed the names of Wang Wenji, Li Jijun, Kui Juba, An Lejun, He Bang, Sun Jiangguo, and others in the gang. After obtaining information about the 6 key members of the gang and their hideouts, the police acted immediately. On August 31st, based on the information provided by Wu Jianju, they arrested Wang Wenji and He Bang while they were dividing stolen money under the southern intersection of Jilin Bridge. Shortly afterward, the main suspects, Li Jijun, Kui Juba, Zhou Dan, along with other gang members such as Song Zhenyong, Xu Tieying, Zhao Yuwei, Sun Jiangguo, Li Xia, and others, were successively apprehended. Based on the investigation and testimonies, the police preliminarily identified the criminal gang led by Wang Wenji and Li Jijun. Since October 2001, they had operated from Jilin to Changchun, Harbin, and Shenyang. As a result, they committed a total of 31 cases in various cities, stealing a Toyota 450, a Santana, 23 Jettas, 4 standard Jettas, and 2 Jieliang mini trucks. The total value of these vehicles amounted to over 4 million yuan. Overall, as the case reached this point, it could be considered solved. However, the police were not at ease because there were still many puzzling aspects they couldn't explain. First, the number of gang members was too large, yet strangely, none of them had any prior criminal records. This seemed illogical. Second, these criminals were very sophisticated and highly skilled, yet all they confessed to were thefts, with no other crimes involved. This also seemed illogical. Therefore, during the hunt for illegal activities, the police increased the pressure during interrogations. After 2 continuous days and nights of questioning, the psychological defenses of Kui Juba and Wang Wenji collapsed. They confessed that from September 2000 to December 2001, along with Li Jijun, An Lejun, Wang Hongwei, and the rest of the gang, they operated in Changchun, Jilin, Shenzhen, and surrounding areas. They committed 4 carjackings and 6 other robberies in cities such as Xiamen, Wenzhou, and nearby areas. With this crucial information, the police found the interrogation process easier. Soon after, Li Jijun also admitted to his crimes. Through the interrogation of other suspects, the police successfully dismantled a criminal network involved in murder, carjacking, and vehicle theft, spanning 6 provinces and 9 regions, led by Li Jijun and Wang Wenji. All members, a total of 21 individuals, related to this criminal gang were arrested. On September 25, 2002, the Intermediate People's Court of Jilin City sentenced the 6 key individuals, including Li Jijun, to death and handed life sentences to the other accomplices. Other suspects involved in the case would be dealt with according to the severity of their crimes, receiving corresponding punishments. To this day, since the establishment of this country, the serial murder, robbery, and theft case led by Li Jijun is considered the most shocking case in China, serving as a stern warning to all citizens. It can be seen that all these criminals started as ordinary people with no prior criminal records, but due to greed and weakness, they embarked on a dark path. As the saying goes, better to be poor but honest. With our own hands, we can achieve everything. With human effort, even stones can be turned into bread.